one of the software that I did for them is those that want to be employed by Nigeria Army. They come for medical screening. They told me the problem. The problem is that when they want to compute the results manually, it takes them a lot of time. What can you do for us? Then I didn't have the knowledge of uh, data science. I just had the coding background and the like. So what I could do is to have a web application that looks into all the criteria. That's I went to gather the data because like I was still new to medical field that time. So I needed that domain knowledge to be able to produce what they requested from me. So I gathered the data. After gathering the data, I didn't, like I mentioned, I didn't have data science knowledge that period. But what I still did was still related to what is shown in the slide. Though I manually processed that data in order for me to see if this software is going to do what they needed before the exercise, before implementing the software. I didn't visualize the data and then I didn't have any model, but I communicated the action plan to my commander that time. So now, and in that scenario now, where okay, you want to be employed by Nigerian Army and you're considered to go or any army, or you consider and you're considered to go for medical screening. So if in that process they are going to use data science to do anything, they are going to define the problem. What is the problem in this scenario? The people that are joining the army have to be medically fit. Then that time they gave me the list of the applicants, which tend to be close to 10,000. So, okay, we've taken all their necessary uh, details, including their physical evaluation results, their lab results, their X-ray, their ECG, and the like. Then we process the data. Because we human beings, we can be so quick in answering question or imputing our details at times. So we tend to do them wrongly. Where if me as a software engineer, I don't condition those inputs that are collecting your information, if I don't condition them to get the right data from you, maybe where you're supposed to enter your name, I didn't pass a condition to check that you are entering text, not number, because like I have not seen somebody that BS. I want to introduce myself and I say my name is number one. Is I don't think such exists. So, but let's say for example, there's now a mistake of me putting my name where I'm supposed to put my age. That I have to correct that data, right? So the process of doing that, you're processing the data. Then you want to visualize to actually see to get some first hand information about your data. That time you try to decide if the data you have is actually going to answer the questions that you're trying to answer. And some people tend to make this mistake by relating correlation to causality. What I mean by that is that you can't say, for example, my research is on human emotions and causality. So, and I can't say somebody because I just visualize the data and I see that, okay, the person the facial expression of the person is smiling. And I now quickly generalize that the person is smiling because the person is happy. Some people can give fake smile, right? So, and you, at the process of visualizing your data, uh, don't make mistake of bringing causality out of that data until when you uh, when you do some inference. This might be too technical for some people, but you can always ask me question. So after you visualize your data, then you can select the model that is going to fit that data. And then after that, you now communicate your action plan, or you propose an action plan. So we spoke about machine learning earlier and also deep learning. The main difference between them is that one requires human to be in the loop, while the other, the human can go and sleep and it's running. So you have an input, you feed it a tree. For machine learning, humans still have to train the model like a child. And inside machine learning, you'll be hearing words like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. Okay, for supervised learning, I spoke about BMI earlier. If I have the names of the participants, okay, I spoke about the software that I did for medical screening for those that are applying to Nigerian Army. Okay, so the end goal, the target is to classify the the applicant into three: fit, unfit, or borderline. The fit is that they pass all the criteria. The unfit is that they didn't pass maybe at least one that is very important, especially lab, chest X-ray too, because like they are going to engage after medical screening, they will now go into the physical, like crossing obstacle and the like. They need to be medically fit to be able to do that, so that you not tend to have people dying even before they get to the battlefield, or they get to even the training ground. So the target is that this thing is that result: fit, unfit, or borderline. The borderline, the team, the medical team tend to sit and see where can we push these people that fall into the borderline, because some people might be experiencing some things because of some condition. For example, we female, there might be some things showing in our lab results based on, sorry, our monthly flow. So, and if somebody in that situation find herself in that what they call it, some things might show in the lab. So human needs to see that and say, okay, this is nothing. Then you can pass the person. Now, if you want to use AI, if you want to use machine learning in that regard, you have all those details, the applicant details, their results, then you feed it into the machine. You still have like the feed or feeds and the like in it. So in that process of training to see patterns, to see the patterns of those that are fit, and you humans still have to be in the loop. But for deep learning, what you just need to do is just give it the data. It's going to do all the feature engineering itself and all the training itself. It's just going to tell you this is a tree, this is not a tree. I hope that is clear. So, talking about training data and testing data. Okay, so there are actually some model that are able to that requires both training data and test data. So, and for those of us familiar with the concept of decision tree, and where you have, okay, you can have like multiple training data, you have some split, or you have multiple model, and then they bring out their results. Then you now take the average of the results. Okay, you can see for the teachers, those in teaching line, or okay, let's say in research now, one good thing that I like about research is that research community is that when you submit a paper, it is reviewed by at least two people, so that this person can give the grading, that person can give the grading, then they take the average, and then rank the applicant based on the average. So that is an example of what I'm just trying to explain in the slide. What is now the life cycle of data science? Your business understanding is very important. That's defining the problem is very important. Some people jump into data gathering before they will now want to like now define the problem. That is wrong. If you are familiar with the concept of research questions, you're familiar with the concept of defining your variable. That's your independent variable and dependent variable. Okay, if my research question in that medical stuff that I've been uh, I've been talking about is that I okay, let me take it down to BMI. I have my question around obesity. I want to investigate why the maybe some of the applicants, or maybe the hospital, they mentioned that they tend to have applicants that are obese. Then I can have a research question there. Then I define my variable. In this regard, my independent variable will be the person's height and weight. Then the dependent variable will be the BMI, because like the change in X leads to the change in Y. That's the change in the independent variable will lead to the change in the dependent variable. So after that, I will now gather my data. Then I clean the data. What I mean by cleaning, like the example I gave, data not being imputed correctly. Some people, some instances, I mean, it's not about you not entering the data correctly. What if you use an equipment to gather the data? Because I remember that time, Brigadier General Ayeni was telling me that, oh, we have an equipment that takes what do they call it? The vital signs of the patient, and it tends to record the data. Is there a way you can get the data from this equipment and visualize the data for us? That equipment might at some point malfunction, and the data is dirty to an extent. So I have to clean it up to put it properly, and then before I will now visualize it. Feature engineering, to an extent, is, I consider it to be an important part of data science. Like for deep learning, it's the model tend to do that by itself, right? But feature engineering, to an extent, it help you to define what are those important column. I'm using column for because like most of us are familiar with spreadsheet. Let me assume that we are familiar with spreadsheet. So I put the information of the participants in the spreadsheet. Then, okay, I have the first name, the surname, I have the height, the weight, and then I have the BMI. Okay, so, and I have to define what are the columns that are very important to, they are very important to my question. They are very important to what I'm doing. I know like the the name has nothing to do with with BMI stuff, but columns like the height, the weight are quite important. We don't want to pass unnecessary column, want to fill all the columns that we have. People might give us a data that has a lot of things, that some columns are not necessarily important. So we have to like manually do feature engineering to be able to define some of these things. And yep, then after that, we have her model. Some people still like go ahead after having the model results to visualize either some of the reports from the model, or even go back to like redoing the entire thing. Maybe it gives them unexpected result. I by tomorrow or next tomorrow, we are going to talk about bias. So I will talk more about this during. So what are the ways that we can apply AI and data science in African way? Yeah, I'm not from agriculture, but I can collaborate with agricultural scientists. I have my friend, and she studied things related to engineering. But since we are friends, I always tell her about AI. But one good thing that I found her doing, now she's studying masters in computer science, that I found interesting in her is her internship. She was able to leverage her engineering background in, I think, agricultural engineering, something like that she studied, together with what she studied for her first masters, and then be able to like do stuff in agriculture. So in this regard, when you want to gather your data, you can regarding that's the soil data, you have the pH, the moisture, the nutrients. Then you have your AI looking at the pattern. Then it now recommend, is this a maize, rice, or cassava? One big takeaway from this is that it helps the farmers to grow the right crops and yield increase. So you have this the data being processed, you have your machine learning model, it gives predictive value, it makes decision. There are some threshold, that's that one I see it more mathematical. Um, then the decision will now be, is it a maize? Is it a rice? Or what is the third one? Or a cassava? Yeah. So for the fintech people, you want to have a model that is able to give credit scoring, which look into data, your mobile money data, like the transaction, the airtime, and your saving is going to look at the pattern. The machine learning model is going to look at your spending pattern. Then it gives you a credit score, which the bank will now be able to decide either they should give you the loan or not. So it's actually gives the financial access to people without having to travel to bank. Okay, so for healthcare, you have the input has the image. This is a chest X-ray. It's going to look at the pattern, then it's going to like help to identify the the disease that the person is having. Then depending on what the model is doing, we have the run of LLM that's able to like give suggestions and probably collaborate with human to be able to like suggest treatment. So we know that early diagnosis help in saving life and also improves productivity. So what are now the tools that we are going to use in this training? I don't want to take much time so that Olayiwola can take over the practical part of the training. So we are going to make use of Python, and the my TA is nickname is Python. So why did we decide to use Python? Though it tends to be in this part of the world I am, Python and R are the two popular tools that people are using. But I found Python more interesting because it's quite readable. R2 is readable. In fact, when I need to do data analysis, I tend to like to use R more than Python, but my lab work is mainly on Python. It's quite powerful, then it's massive. And so for this training, we are going to use the free cloud notebook from Google Colab. You don't need to install anything, you don't need GPU access. You can easily share your script with anybody. So that is the link to the Google Colab. Olayiwola is still going to walk you through that. So when you find yourself in this data science life, I call it life because it's not tied to computer science. Scientist alone is not tied to mathematician or statisticians. Yeah, and I've seen people from other field, even from arts, commercial, doing this. So some of the core libraries that you see pandas, matplotlib, seaborns, scikit-learn, and when you want to import library, you'll see things like this because some people has already written this code somewhere. So you need to call them where they kept them, then you use them. You don't have to write the entire code yourself. Then you load your data and tools like Python, R, and the like, they have default data incorporated with them. Iris is one of it. So when you load the data, this head is just going to help you to see maybe the first 10 on the row. Then you visualize your data. You want to say which specific column that you want to visualize, and that's it. Any question? Any question? Do we have any question for me? question, comments, addition, subtraction, anything you feel like saying. It's a free word.
Yeah, Christiana, I don't
Yes.
have a question. I just want to appreciate your simplicity, the way you handled the explanation, simple enough for a newcomer to hit the ground running. Thank
Thank you
you
so much,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we can have Abdussomad taking over. Have I stop sharing? Stop sharing, yeah.
So good day everyone. I hope you can all hear what I'm saying. Good day
Yes, we
everyone.
can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I think it's my turn to introduce myself now. So my name is Olayiwola Abdussomad. People call me Python because I'm quite good at Python programming language. And then the one that will be taking the practical class of this summer school for the next for today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. So I'm a computer science student studying in Nigeria. So now to start with, as Christiana have said, she said we are going to use Google Colab for our practical class. So now I want you all to like log in and open your new notebook on Google Colab. So now I will share my screen so that you all can see how the Google Colab looks like. So this is what the Google Colab looks like. Once you click on the link I sent to the group chat, it will take you to this page. Then you have to click on new notebook. So once you click on new notebook, the tool will create a new notebook for you. So this notebook, what are we going to use it for? This is what we are going to use to like run all our Python programming code. So this is what we are going to use to run all our Python programming code. Please, if you are having problem, if you have problem with opening the notebook, you can let me know. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
So now, in case there's no problem, I want everyone to like practice with me. So if you can try to like log in on your Google Colab, so I really appreciate it so that we can flow together. So I'm going to start. So to start with, what's the first thing all programmer usually print? Like all programmer usually write, their first code is always print hello world. So now in Python programming language, if you want Python to give you an output, you have to use print statement. So now the print statement is has like 2 or 3 rules. Number one, every letter you are going to write must be in lowercase. Look at this now. My print statement, print, they are all in what? In lowercase. Then after the print statement, there must be a parenthesis. So now there must be a what? A
Sorry.
parenthesis.
Hello. Is it pos-
Hello?
is it possible to zoom a little your slides because I didn't see it well. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, thank you now.
Okay. So now if there's any problem, you can let me know so that I can try to adjust. So as I was saying, after the print statement, the next thing that will come is our parentheses. Our parentheses must is like an open bracket and a closed bracket. So now what we put inside the parentheses is we want Python to give output. That's what we want. That's what we put inside the parentheses. So now, if you want to print inside the parentheses, now there must be a quotation mark. when you are printing something that is related with like letters. For example, now hello word, there are letters in English language. Hello words, sorry. So now when I run it, so look at this. The output is what is hello word. But look at this now. If I just make one mistake, like the print statement, I put an uppercase P instead of a lowercase, you see that it's going to give me an error statement. You see, print is not what is not defined. So now Python is what is case sensitive. It is case sensitive in such a way that when you use a lowercase instead of an uppercase, it will give you an error. Or if you use an uppercase instead of a lowercase, it will give you an error. So you must be very, very careful when using your casing. So now I'll try to correct it. It will be hello word. So now when you are printing anything related with string, like a string is a word or alphabet, a word that consists of alphabet. When you are printing something related with it, you must always put it inside a quotation mark. So it can be either single quotation mark or double quotation mark. I used double quotation mark before and it printed hello word. So now let's try using a single quotation mark. Let's see what it will bring. You see, the result is the same, hello word. But if I make a mistake, if I don't put quotation mark there will be an error. There will be an error. You see, perhaps forgot a comma or syntax error. Look at that. So if you want to correct it, you must put your word inside the quotation mark. But this concept is not the same thing when you are printing a number. For example, now I want to print 18. I don't need to put it inside quotation mark. If I put it inside quotation mark, it will print 18. But if I don't put it inside quotation mark, it will still print 18 because it is a number. Look at that. It's a number. So there won't be any error. But if it is a string, that is, if it's a word, like an alphabet, there will be a problem if I don't put quotation mark there. So I want everyone to try and print their names. For example, now I'm going to print my name is Olayiwola Abdussomad. So now everyone that is practicing, I want you to print something that's related with this. So you can see if you can move on with it. You see, it prints my name is Oyewale Abdussomad. So that's it. So now I want everyone to maybe let's see 2 people that will try it and then move on to the next thing. Is there anyone that wants to give it a try?
Hello.
Hello.
It's about the 18. You said that if I put 18 in a quotation mark and I run, I can get also 18, or
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, I can get it also.
Yes, if you don't put it, you can get it also. So you can try it. Let's try it here. Let's try it here.
Okay, okay.
I hope you can see my screen clearly.
Sorry, Abdussomad, let me answer that question. When you pass it inside the quotation mark, it's going to be like, it's going to appear like a string. That's in form of, let's say, character, depending on the programming language you're using. If you don't uh, put that quotation mark, then that's is a strictly an integer thing. Does that answer your question? So both ways work. So it depends on what you want to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the clarification. So In Python, there are three form of variables that we use in Python. So one is string, another one is what is integer, and then another one is boolean value. So a string is like a character, Christiana said. So it's like a character or words. Huh. Like for example, now my name is Olayiwola Abdussomad is a string. So whenever you're printing a string, you must put it inside a quotation mark. But an integer is anything related with number. For example, now 10, 11, 12. It is what? It is an integer. It is an integer. For example, you don't need to put it inside a quotation mark if you want to print it. Look at that. So now, in order, if you want to run your code, instead of dragging your what is it called, your mouse to this run statement, you can just click on Shift and Enter together. Just click on Shift and Enter together instead of dragging your cursor to this run symbol. So now, as I was saying, 10 is an integer. Any number is what? Is an integer. But any number that involves decimal points, for example, now 10.5, they are classified as a float. I don't know if you get me. They are classified as what? As a float. And a float too is a form of a number. So you don't need to put inside a string if you want to print it. Look at that. This is a float. So now, a Boolean value are true or false. Boolean value are true or what? Or false. So now, for example, now print. If you want to print Boolean value too, you don't need to put it inside quotation mark. Print true. It's true. That's just the base. There are some other variables that we use in Python, but these are just the basic ones: the string, the integer, and the Boolean value. So let's move on to like our next code. So now our next thing we are going to be doing is like assigning a value to a variable. Assigning a value to a variable. What is the meaning of assigning a value to a variable? So for example, now if you are solving a mathematical problem, let's say they say think of a number. Find the value of a number. If they say let a number plus a number is equals to 25, for example, now a number plus a number is equals to 25. So if you want to solve it mathematically, you have to say, okay, the first number be x, then the second number be y. So it will be x plus y equals what? 25. So now that's just the basic thing about assigning a value to. So now we can assign a value. Let's say x is our value to a variable. A variable can be 25. It can be a string. Another value is like a name. Let's use name as your value. And your variable will be a string. You know, if you want to print a string, you must put it inside what? Inside the quotation mark. Look at that. Name equals to what? Abdussomad. So now, if I say Python should print x, what do you think it will print? Instead of, will it print x or 25? It's going to print what? It's going to
25.
print 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because x is representing what? 25. You have assigned 25 to what? To x. So that's just basic meaning of assigning a value to a variable. So now another thing is name equals to what? Abdussomad. So now print name. What will be the output? The output is going to be what? Abdussomad. Print name. The name will be what? Because we have assigned Abdussomad to our name. So instead of printing name, it will print Abdussomad. But if you make a mistake, if you don't put Abdussomad inside the string, there will be an error. You see, if you don't put inside the string, there will be an error. You're saying something. Hello?
No, continue. No one said
Okay,
anything.
okay. So if you mistakenly like if you print use a string without putting inside a quotation mark, there will be an there will be an error. So now, in order to correct it, you can either use a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark. So now we used a double quotation mark before. So now let's use a single quotation mark, and our result is the same: 25 and what and Abdussomad. So now let's solve some mathematical problem with this. Let's say x is equals to 3, and then y is equals to what? Is equals to 20. So now we now want Python to what? To add x and y together. Let's write it. It's just simple. Use the print statement because we want Python to give us what? An output. So we use print statement, and all the print statements the letters in print must be in what? In a lowercase. So print, then followed by what? A parenthesis. So then we put our x plus y. So the result will be what? Will be 23. So now you can use x minus y too. That's subtraction is minus 17 because 3 minus 20 will be minus 17. Let's use x divided by 0.15. So now don't make a mistake of using this is the division sign in Python programming language. We don't use the normal mathematical division sign. It's not even on the keyboard, but this is the division sign we use on Python programming language. And then if you want to do multiplication, 20 multiply by, use this star symbol. 20 multiply by 3, the result will be 60. So now raised to power, if you want to use raised to power, like 20 raised to the power of 3, you just have to use double star. Then 20 raised to the power of 3 will be 200,000. So now, if you want to find that after dividing 3 by 20, the remainder, you just have to use this percentage symbol. It will give us the remainder after dividing 20 by 3. What will be the remainder? The remainder will be 2 because 20 divided by 3 is 6. The remainder will be 2. Yeah, you see? And then floor division. 20 divided by 3 is what? 6. That's what we call floor division. Like the number of times 3 can actually go that can actually divide 20. The number of times 3 can actually divide 20, that's what we call floor division. And this is the symbol for floor division. I think I should be doing this one by one, but it's good like this. I think it's good. So now another thing in Python is comment, using comment. So now comment is what is for those that are reading your code, not for Python to read. It's for those that are reading your code. It's just like a way of explaining your code to someone. Maybe you want to share your code now. So a way of explaining it is by using comment. For example, now, if you want to use comment, this is the sign. You have to put hash before your comment. For example, x is equal to 5. That means if I want to explain my code to someone, I say I am assigning the variable $25, the value 25 to our variable x. You see, when Python see this statement, it won't try to read this because of this hash symbol. Because of this hash symbol, Python won't try to read this statement. Only those that are reading your statement, like those that you shared your code to. So those are the ones, those are the people that can actually read it. So now if I run it, there won't be change in my program. But if I don't put this hash symbol, Python will try to read it and there will be an error, you see. But once I put this hash symbol in front of it, that means Python should ignore this statement. It's only for those that want to read it, like those that want to understand what this code is for. That's the reason for commenting. So now if you want to do multi-line comments, you use division sign. No, this sign. Multiplication sign. 1, 2, 3. Multi-line comment. That means you can write your comment as long as you want. You can just write as long. If you want to write as long as you want, you use this sign and then add it at the end too. So that's that about commenting. So, but since our what I wrote is not up to like second line, I have to print a lot of things before I can go to the second line. I just have to go to the go with the single line comment. So I assign value to a variable. So now we've talked about how we can use we've talked about how we can use value and variable for mathematical expression. Y divided by floor division x. That's what I'm supposed to write. Y floor division x. So our result will still be the same thing, 6. Y multiplied by x, it will be 60. Still the same thing. So now we've learned how we can use value and variable in for arithmetic operation. So now let's learn how we can use string ones too in print statement. No, we use integer. X represents an integer, which is 3. Y also represents an integer, which is 20. So now let's use string. Name is what? For example, now this is an example of string. Name is Abdussomad. So now if I want to use it in print statement, for example, now print my comma name. Look at this. Print my comma name. That is, Python should print what's inside this quotation mark string first. It's
Hello.
Abdussomad, you are muted.
I lost. Yes, I lost.
No, I think he's muted.
Okay, okay.
Your stuff is showing you are muted. Yeah.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear you.
yes. It is good now.
Please, where did I
We are
stop
talking.
when it's
We are talking about your name, to print your name. My name is something like that.
so now look at this. These are our variable name equals to what? Abdussomad, which is the value for the name. So now I want to use it inside a print statement. In Python programming, you can use what you've used in your first line. You can use it also in your last line. For example, now maybe I've written a lot of codes before. So instead of writing Abdussomad again, look at this. Name equals to Abdussomad. Then I wrote some codes under it. So instead of writing my name is Abdussomad again, I just have to say print my name is what, comma, then the name. So Python knows that this name represents Abdussomad. That's the reason for value and variable. Instead of doing repetitive work, instead of just saying my name is Abdussomad, you just have to just mention it instead of going through the stress. You see? first x equals to 3, y equals to 20, then print y times x. No, our y is 20 and our x is 3. Y times x is going to be 60. Then it come to the second line and print my name is what? Is name, which is what? Abdussomad. Python automatically puts space after comma. When you use comma, Python will automatically put space in your word. For example, now if I don't put comma here, there will be an error. But if I put comma, this comma means that these two things are different. My name is a different, and the name is a value on its own. Name is a value on its own. So if I run it, it's going to be my name is what? Is Abdussomad. So now let's move on to something more complex. So let's move on to list. So now if you want to pack a lot of variable, a lot of values inside one variable, that's where we use list. If you want to pack a lot of values inside variable, that's where we use list. You know, the example we did above, we say x, we said x equals to 3. That is one value. One value, 3 is equals to what? X, which is one variable. So now, how can we assign multiple values to a single variable? That's what we are going to do now. So now let's say names equals to, instead of using quotation mark direct, you must use the list sign, and the sign for list is square bracket. This square bracket, it means that you want to assign a lot of values to that variable name. So that's what the square bracket means. So now to start with, let's say Abdussomad, then another name is Olayiwola, another name is Damilola, another one is Python, another one is R. Look at that. Look at that pattern. Whenever I'm putting a string, I must use what? I must use a quotation mark. That's the rule. Whenever you're using a string, you must use what? You must use a quotation mark. Look at that. Abdussomad, I put inside quotation mark. Before I go to another string, I put comma. Then I move on to another what? Another string, which is Olayiwola. I put inside a quotation mark too. Then another comma, because I want to go into what? Another string. I did the same thing to Python. I did the same thing to R. So now if I want to add maybe an integer, you can just add 10.5. Look at that. So now those are integer. You can add it, but you don't need to put it inside a quotation mark because it's an integer.
Abdussomad,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. There's a hand raised up. I
Okay.
don't know if the person has a question.
Mr. Abdussomad, we can't see your I can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
Yes, for a very long time.
Okay, I think it's your network, Madam Aminu, because we've been seeing the screen.
Okay, so let me rejoin.
Okay, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, now.
Abdussomad, please give her maybe 3 seconds to join.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay. So sorry. So as I was saying about list, the first item in our list is Abdussomad. It's a string. The second item is Olayiwola, another string. Damilola, another string. Python, another string. R, another string. Then 10, an integer. 10.5, a float. And then let's use a Boolean value too, which is what? True. You know, true seems like a string, but it's not a string because it's a Boolean value. Python recognizes true and false. But all these names I mentioned before, Abdussomad, Oyewale, Damilola, Python did not recognize it. So that's why I must put it inside a quotation mark. But since Python recognizes true, I don't need to put it inside a quotation mark. So now if you want to print our list, you just have to do what? Just print names. Like the name of our list is what? Is names. So once I print it, Python will give me the output of everything. So now if I make a mistake here, maybe in Damilola, I did not put a quotation mark, there will be an error. So this is showing how important a quotation mark is. So you must put a quotation mark in every string you are going to define in your Python programming language. So I've corrected it, and this is the result. So now there's something we call looking through a list. Looking through a list. This means going through a list one by one. Going through a list one by one. So I mean, when I printed names, it prints Abdussomad, Oyewale, Damilola, Python, R, 10, 10.5, and true. It gives me everything on the same line. Like it prints everything once. So now, if I want Python to print everything one by one, like step by step, Abdussomad first, then Oyewale, then Damilola, then and so on. So I just have to use this first for loop statement for name in our names, like the name of our list, names. Then you must put colon for name in names. Print name, not names. Look at this. For name, that is for each name in our words, names. That is the name of the list. Python should print what? It should print the name. It should print each name inside our list. That means it will print it one by one. So now if we run, look at that. It printed it one by one. Abdussomad first, then Oyewale, then Damilola, then Python, then R, then 10, 10.5, and true. So there is this thing about string that I did not talk about, is how you can represent, like how you can print your string in different formats. You can print it in title case, that is only the first letter will be in capital letter. You can print it in uppercase, that is all the letters in your string will be in uppercase. And then you can print everything in what? In lowercase. Let me teach you how to do it. So now let's assign a value to a variable. We already have a value and a variable, which is name and Abdussomad. Name equals to Abdussomad. Let's use that. Instead of saying it again, I'll just mention name here. Print name dot title, that is I want to print it in title case. What's the meaning of title case? It means it will only print the first letter as an uppercase. Look at this. Oh, I've assigned name to another value here. So it's a Boolean value. Let me reassign it. name equals to Abdussomad. Look at that. Name equals to what? Abdussomad. So now print name dot title, that is, it will be in title case. That's only the first letter will be in uppercase. So now, the way I wrote my name before, the first letter is in uppercase. So now once I change it, I change the first letter to a lowercase, that's small letter A. So now I now want to print it in dot title format. It's still the same thing. You see, the first letter is in an uppercase. So now let's use if you want to print it in everything, I want everything to be in uppercase. I just use dot upper. You see, everything is in what? Uppercase, capital letter.